Start commercials.
Got Your Back Podstream is brought to you by Mr. Dirk. From casual wear to suits and formals, Mr. Dirk helps you find the perfect fit with the right look for any occasion. Step up your wardrobe at mrdirk.com.
Whoa! Zuby! Breaking out the Got Your Back remix. Just gonna let that breathe for a minute. That hit's nice. Wow. What is happening? Fantastic stuff. Nice work, Zuby. Welcome to Got Your Back, everybody. Oilers with the win tonight. Bit of a nail-biter. Maybe more than it actually needed to be, wouldn't you say? But they end up picking up a couple of points. And anytime you can do that on back-to-backs, you're going to be happy with the result, even if there were things about the process that kind of bugged you. And I feel like there were some things about that process that probably bugged Oiler fans a little bit tonight. Thanks so much for tuning into the show tonight. So glad to have you along, whether you're live on YouTube, Twitch. If anyone out there is actually on Twitch, thank you. And on X as well. Got Your Back, as always, presented by our proud title sponsor, Play Alberta, where it's always game time. Bet on sports. Find your new favorite slot. Hit the tables. Play on a virtual table with a live dealer. Grab some lottery tickets and do it all safely with responsible gambling tools that help keep you safe. Deposit today. You get that $50 free bet with code GYB02. Visit playalberta.ca. I am in the mobile Adrenaline Diesel studio, the Banff world headquarters of Got Your Back and Adrenaline Diesel studio. If you need a part manufactured, replicated, or repaired, Adrenaline Diesel has you covered with their brand new machine shop. Visit adrenalinediesel.ca. As we say hello to Zuby and Struddy. So I don't have YouTube up, Zuby, where I can normally monitor the comments. Do we have some early returns on the new funk that we got going on the show with the anthem?
There was not much. I think it's gone a little under the radar here, even though you really...
Bigger deal for me.
Yeah.
Bigger deal for me than anyone else. I thought that was cool. What do you think, Struddy?
Jacob said, whoa.
Yeah.
And that was referring to that. And I haven't heard. That's the only comment.
That's it so far. I don't know. Bigger deal to us, I guess.
Yeah, it's neat. It's different. I like the other one a little bit better, but I think it's because I'm used to it, right? I don't like change, you know. But give me a couple shows to fall into it. I'm not saying no. I just
no.
Like I said, it was dropped on me. I was surprised to hear it.
Where do you hear the Struddy's World remix with the big bass? It sounds really cool too. Oh boy,
extra beat.
Oh yeah. No, just so everybody knows, no need to panic. We're not going with that full time. But Zuby's been playing around with a few things and trying a few things, and I was like, I'll let her buck tonight. Let's see how it hits. So I didn't mind it. Maybe we'll just mix it up a little here in and out of commercial breaks and stuff. Just kind of keep it fresh, right?
That's
keep
more what I was thinking. The start of the main theme is too iconic to completely get rid of.
Can't mess with that for sure. We'll just drop it here and there. Okay, so maybe that didn't work so good, but that's not getting me down tonight, fellas. There is nothing. No matter what happens on this show, I have won the day. Because in the beautiful setting of Banff, Alberta, looking out our beautiful window into the minus 20 degree weather, I sat in this very room today and dominated. Absolutely dominated. Catan crushed it. Snuck in a little longest road. Don't know if everyone knew I had it or not. Boom, 10 points. Game over. Stunned looks on the faces in the room. Followed that up with a little, what's the other one called? Survive the Island. Crushed everybody in that one too, Struddy. And then the third game, my team, what was the third game? Name 5. My brother Rob and I crushed the girls. So, Struddy, 3 for 3, buds.
Oh, going to the mountains and staring inwards at each other while playing games. I get it, man. I get it. It's like people that go to the beach and turn their back to the water. Why enjoy what you're there to do? Do something else. You know, I love it. I love the passion for it.
It was so good. It was pretty cold. We did venture outside a little bit, but not a lot. And maybe tomorrow. I think the temperature's going to warm up a little tomorrow, so I'll go get a hike. I'm gonna hike up to the top of the gondola and back down before we hit the road. So I got that plan for the morning, Struds. Just so you know, it's not going to be all about board game domination for the whole weekend here.
Do you want the visual evidence here, Shaugger? I didn't know if you were going to tee this up. We've got the
picture Randine sent? Yeah, whatever. I mean, you can see
we've got a couple of
That's the sign of victory that's about to happen. That was before any of the wins. And so I even got happier from there. Crushed it. Oh, yeah, there I won the Pringles. Won the ketchup Pringles for winning the Catan game.
The Pringle Invitational.
So that was after victory number the Pringle Invitational. Right. That was after victory number 1 of 3 on the day, Strud. So if anybody wants in on these vacations, let me know. Anybody wants to join us for the next year's, that's 2 years in a row now, we've come to the mountains for board game, Strud. So I think this is going to be an every year type of thing soon.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and you couldn't do this in your own basement. Like you can't, it's not the same experience, right? That's, Paris is next.
Yeah.
All right, enough.
Sorry,
enough.
Play sorry outside of the Louvre.
Right.
Yeah. Just travel to these amazing destinations around the world and play Hungry Hippo and that doctor game where you operation.
Oh, yeah.
All right, enough of this. Let's get to breaking the game down. Listen, another like a win on the road and back-to-backs. That's you have to be pretty happy with the way that goes, even if you don't love it, Strud. So let's get to our breakdown brought to you by the Alberta Ram dealers. The 4x4 winter event is here. Get up to $11,200 in total discounts on a 2024 Ram 1500 DT Bighorn at your Alberta Ram dealer. Go see your local Ram dealer today. Beautiful truck outside and in. And fantastic to driving conditions like what we drove in from Sherwood Park up to Calgary here in the last couple of days. Okay, Struds, there's a few different topics that definitely we need to get to in this one. And I found myself, like we titled the pod tonight, what did we go with, Zuby? Secondary scoring or something along those lines? Wanting to shine a light on the secondary scoring. Anytime you get goals from Arvidsson and Skinner, 2 players that were brought in this year, Struds, to be secondary scorers, and they came up big in this game. I feel like that's a big thing, but at the same time, Calvin Pickard had one of those nights where you're like, we probably got to talk about him. And you got Jeff Skinner. So I'll kind of leave this to you, Struds. My gut is Jeff Skinner, but where do you want to start?
Well, I would go with Skinner and Arvidsson as well, because I think at this point in the season, we would have expected both those guys to be 15 goals maybe, and I know that Jeff Skinner's not too far off that, but I think that you'd think between them, they'd probably have double the amount of goals they have right now. I think that'd be fair to say. And they haven't got there. So those 2 guys finding the back of the net on the same night, playing with who they're playing with, because Arvidsson is with 97, Skinner's at 29. Those are big stepping stones towards what we hope would be, I hope is an opening of the door for Jeff Skinner. Give the man a chance. And so there's a big conversation there. But then the Pickard too. I mean, he made some huge saves, absolutely huge saves. And I think last show I said I talked to a goalie coach and said he might not be the most technically sound, but he reads the game really well. And I think that the save on Maroon is exactly what he was talking about. And that was a really good example of that. So those 3 guys were huge in this game today, absolutely huge.
Okay, so let's kind of pick them apart one by one here, and let's start with Jeff Skinner, because he's been a topic on the show for some time, Struds. And for a long time, there was pessimism, I would say, kind of emanating from you about the way the Skinner thing was going and maybe the direction it was heading, that there was a divorce was coming between the 2. And it kind of felt somewhat fait accompli that would happen. But I don't know if you recall, maybe like 10 or 12 days ago, I don't remember when it was, but you kind of sensed this subtle shift. I think I had said something has softened with Skinner here. To me, it started with the head coach describing him being a healthy scratch as like, it's not fair when a guy's playing well and he's a healthy scratch. Well, think about the way Knobloch has talked about Skinner previously this year, where it was like, he almost didn't really know what to say and it was kind of awkward, uncomfortable. That day, he's like, okay, there was some empathy there. And it's like he wanted to get to the player. He looked for opportunities to get him into the lineup. Struds, on the strength of what I believe some really strong defensive play and some really strong specific defensive plays that were notable over the last couple of games, Skinner managed to work his way back into a top 6 look next to Leon Draisaitl. It went the other way. Whatever they needed to see from him before, whatever was lacking, that frustration to me has dissipated, and it's been replaced with little bits of trust, little bits of opportunity, and now Skinner is finding some comfort zone, and he's got 3 goals in his last 5 games here, a couple big points tonight.
His play away from the puck has improved a lot, and I'm guessing that was the message, or has been the consistent message for him. The way he's back checking, the way he's being heavier on his stick, he's staying in those battles for longer. I think the next step for him, quite honestly, is trying to get a little bit physical, maybe blocking a few shots. Like that is, everyone's got to contribute to that, right?
Sure.
I'm not suggesting he'll become a shot blocking machine and or a hitting machine, but just to get those moments. But you've noticed, times he's back checked hard. He's won puck battles on the wall where early in the year he wasn't doing that. And so tonight he was put in a position beside Leon where it's like, okay, show us what you got. I fully expected him to keep the big lines together. I thought they're going to keep Connor and Leon together and just try to overmatch these guys in the second half. I was wrong. Knobloch had the right touch, and the pieces he put in place, they responded today. So for Skinner, this is a huge, huge thing that he played well there. Not only did he score a really nice goal, like that's a goal scorer's goal, he also set up his center for a goal. And that was on a back check. And I love that for him because it's a two-way street. Leon wants to score too. So I bet you Leon's on the plane thinking, okay, you know what? Maybe there is something here. Let's give it a second chance against the Avs on Friday.
And interesting too that Podkolzin gets the bump up next to Leon as well. So, not an obvious choice, I would say, Struds. Like, not an obvious choice. Skinner, it sort of feels like, okay, I can understand why they were giving him that look. Podkolzin, okay, well, that'll be interesting. So, I would say some nice touch from Knobloch there, throwing a line together, and it ended up working pretty good.
Yeah, so I think that the role is clear for Podkolzin there. His role's always clear. Be heavy, be physical, get in there, back check hard, and kind of create chaos. And, we've been talking about a player that can score beside Leon. Well, Skinner can score. That's what he does. That is his greatest attribute, is scoring. But, he's not those other things, although he has to contribute to that, or else, as clear, Skinner or Knobloch's not going to accept his play, not at that level. So the line kind of makes sense when you look at the elements it all brings in, or what the two wingers bring to this party for Leon.
Let's hear what the principals involved had to say. We'll get to the Weiss Johnson sound box. Weiss Johnson is offering 10% off any new furnace installed before March 1st. So if you need to replace your furnace because it's just not measuring up, it's just gone to crap on you like Zuby's glove hand, and you want a newer, better model that's more efficient, mention you heard it on Got Your Back. When you book your estimate, you'll receive 10% off your new furnace. Visit Weiss-Johnson.com today. Jingle.
Weiss Johnson, whoa.
Oh. I thought maybe because the chirp was about Zuby today that he was going to protest and not play the jingle, Struds, because he didn't appreciate the chirp there, Zuby. I thought maybe you were going to say no to Dennis. These are all from Dennis.
That's about all that I have in the only bullet in my gun, I suppose, is to hold off on the jingle. No, I was just really waiting for the cue.
Imagine the mayhem that would ensue if you did not play that jingle. I don't know. The show would not be able to go on.
It'd
let's
be
hear from
anarchy.
Jeff Skinner first. It would be anarchy. Jeff Skinner first, followed by the head coach on Jeff Skinner.
Oh, it's pretty good. I think he's an easy guy to play with. He wins a lot of battles, makes a lot of great plays. I missed one there in the first. I think he kind of set me up on the wide open net there, but I thought Podsy played great too. He's really disruptive on the forecheck. Makes a lot of sort of plays that go unnoticed, I feel like. But I felt pretty good with those guys.
Jeff's been playing really well. His details have been good. He's been checking hard. He's been getting in the forecheck. He's been in the right position defensively. I believe it was the third goal. Absolutely a result. He gets the assist on it, but just being in the right place to break up that play to get the puck down, and if he's not in the right play defensively, they're probably on a rush against, and we have to defend. But he's able to break that play up and leaves a scoring chance. He had some chances in the first period, and I thought maybe those were his chances that he didn't put away, but he was able to get some more. And overall, I think he played a really good game, and I think he's played really well for the last couple weeks.
There you have it. Finally, the head coach is able to heap some praise onto Jeff Skinner. And Chris Knobloch is a coach that I believe Struds wants to be able to do that. He's not going to do it if it's not legit. He's not going to do it if they haven't earned it. But finally, an opportunity for him to really sing the praises of this player. And he gives him a look. It pays off. It's now another option that they have next to Leon Draisaitl in that top six. And when it looked like things were hurtling in the wrong direction on Jeff Skinner, they were able to calm things down, right? Like there was a bunch of healthy scratches there we were talking about regularly. And now he's turned it around, focused on his play, and worked his way back right into the fray here. The other change was Arvidsson next to Connor McDavid alongside Zach Hyman, as Nuge had been moved to that third line center position. The goal, Struds, and then the night and the line for Arvidsson.
Yeah, the goal was elite. Like that's an elite shot. He was ready, and knowing he was shooting it before the puck was even coming towards him. He was locked in, and bang, that was off his stick and in the bar, or hit the bar down before anyone even knew what was going on. That's a great goal, and that's how he needs to score. He's moving in. He's kind of from high to low, finding open ice, and it was great. That line, also is kind of two worker bees on the wing. They kind of filter the pucks to Connor, and then they work hard away from the puck, trying to get open, trying to help Connor get open, and all that types of things. So high hockey IQs on all three of those guys. And that's the value. That's clear that Jeff Jackson, when he was a GM for the 24 hours or whatever it was, he valued hockey IQ. That's what he was going for. And we saw it out of Arvidsson today. The line, I like the line. It was interesting to see that against this team, he elected to go with his 4 stud centermen. So it was Connor, Leon, Nuge, Henrique. His 4 stud veteran centermen were all down the lines, and he put the guys in beside him. And I thought for the most part they were rewarded. The lines functioned as they should. Now again, it's Chicago Blackhawks, so we're not going to plan a parade off of this win, but it was the second of back-to-back. It was something different. And again, the guys that he put in position to have success are hoping that they did. Arvidsson, Skinner, and both those lines look pretty good to me.
Yeah, tough to imagine a team being deeper down the middle when he goes with that formation. It gets a little thin on the wings at times when you do that, but pretty impressive spine of the team when he decides to do that. I think Struds, it's almost like when he has McDavid and Draisaitl together a bunch of games in a row, it's almost like he knows, like, I gotta quit doing this. Like he just knows. I gotta stop this. I gotta stop this. Tonight was the perfect opportunity to put a stop to it. If you think about it, like, you shouldn't be doing it. It's not the pathway to long-term success. So this was the night for me. You can balance out the ice time a little bit, and against, not as dangerous opponent. So I think we all knew he had to get it back to normal, and it made sense to me that it was tonight.
Yeah, and against this team. I mean, the second of a back-to-back, and I think for those who didn't watch the game, I don't want to paint this game as a masterpiece. I thought the Oilers they had some ups and downs. They look to me like a team that's looking forward to the break. I do feel that way and understand how that is. As of right now, they're 4 points up on Vegas. I think both teams have one game left before the break. So, but they do look to me like a team that's like, okay, we got through this. We have a fun game now at home against the Avs, and then we're all going our own ways. We're going to take a pause. But they were able to get the 2 points out of this game. Calvin Pickard played well, but it was not this isn't going to work against the Avs or a Vegas when they're playing better, because Vegas right now is really, really struggling.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. You got to figure out ways to win games like this. Not ideal they let the lead get away. Chicago was the much fresher team. And at times it looked that way tonight. And then that's when Calvin Pickard was very, very solid. I want to make sure we have enough time to talk about Pickard. So we're going to push him into takeaways. The other thing I want to talk about, Struds, is Connor Bedard. I guess the guys on TNT were a little rough on him in the intermission. So I want to get your take on Connor Bedard's overall game. Certainly want Brownie's take on that as well. He'll be joining us here sometime in the next 10 or 12 minutes. So we'll push those back into takeaways because still some really meaningful discussion to be had there. In the meantime, let's get to our UCAN Youth Services Relentless Player of the Night. It's an Edmonton charity, relentless in providing possibility for the youth in our community. Mental health is the foundation for growth and success and the key to thriving, not just surviving. 2 in-house counselors provide 3 free therapy sessions, or the youth will have support that they can navigate their struggles with and rediscover their strengths. It's a great program. Visit ucan.ca to donate today. Got your back, proud monthly donors, and encourage you to do the same if you have the ability to do that. Struds, who are we going with tonight?
This guy's been through a lot this year. I think the way the season's gone and was expected from him has been subpar from both sides. So I'm going to give Jeff Skinner, not just for tonight, I'm going to go with him sticking through. You highlighted the scratches. You highlighted the low ice times, demoted to the 4th line. And, by all accounts, you're there. You see him every day. He's not moping around. He's not crying in his soup.
Yeah.
He continues to be a professional. I believe there's a true desire for him or by him to want to be the player they want him to be. And that's a responsible, hardworking player away from the puck that can score when he gets a chance. And I think if they can get that, this solves or could fill one of the potential challenges they've been looking to fill, which is a guy that can score beside 2-9.
Yeah, he just needs to get feeling it, right? Even a guy that's been around as long as he has. You change locations. You don't meet expectations early. It doesn't really look like it's going to be a fit. And you just can't score to save your life. And so, any one of those things would be enough to derail even a veteran player for some time. And Skinner kind of dealing with all of that at once. And so the confidence struggles. And now you're starting to see some of that seep back in. By the way, really super minor thing, not a big deal the other day, but I just, sometimes you notice these tiny little things. And this, you just sort of get the sense of how guys feel about one another with little things that you pick up at practice now and then. So I was watching practice the other day, Struds, and Jeff Skinner is doing a drill against Connor McDavid. So I think it was like 3-on-2, and Skinner was in a defensive role against McDavid. And he interfered with him a little bit and accidentally caught him up high in the nose and got him pretty good. McDavid's eyes were watering and stuff. And it was a practice. They were going pretty hard. And McDavid was a little grumpy because a couple of the drills hadn't gone the way he wanted. And I was like, oh, this will be interesting. What's Connor going to do here? Because it wasn't a great play by Skinner. Caught the captain up high. His eyes were watering. He was checking for blood and all that. And McDavid sort of circled a couple of times. And then he went up to Skinner because Skinner sort of followed him around. He almost sensed he was saying sorry. But then, I don't know if he just sort of backed away or whatever. McDavid made a point skating back over to him, patting him on the butt and tapping him on the back of the head like that, and then went back, and then the drills continued. So I'm totally overthinking it, Struds, but I'm telling you, if you're annoyed by a guy, if you don't like a guy necessarily, I don't know you go out of your way to do something like that. So just tiny little things here and there. I just went, okay, interesting. McDavid went well out of his way to go make sure he knew, hey, we're good. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, you want to be able to compete against your teammates in practice, and accidents happen without people losing it. Now, they've been playing pretty well, the team, and not great, but well enough. And this isn't a heavy practice. It didn't sound like. So these things happen. And after their initial, oh man, I'm so pissed off, you take a couple deep breaths and you circle back hey man, It was an accident, and you move on. So, but that's a leader being a leader too. That's what captains do.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, before we get to our break, Zuby, why don't you hop in here, buddy, and let's get to our YouTube poll, brought to you by our good buddies over at DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center. Are you fired up yet for the upcoming golf season? New 2025 equipment from TaylorMade, Ping, and Callaway are arriving at DeBoer's. Get ahead of the fitting rush and schedule your appointment today, located at 5311 99th Street here in Edmonton. And Struddy, if I hit the ground running with my golf game like my board game has been, you can be in some trouble here. It might be 3 years in a row, buddy.
Oh, boy. Well, I won the first one in the water, but that's fine. We'll just don't let the facts get in the way.
That was not. No, that was not a full round. There were adverse conditions. My electric cart wasn't working. I was having to push it half the time. None of that was right.
That's life. That's life. You got to grind. And one of us did.
We played 6 holes in the rain and called it. And then the day where we actually went head to head, you know what happened. 2 years in a row. You can bring up other stuff if you want, but it's not going to change the 2-0 record. That's
fair. We'll take a look at it. We'll review the scorecards.
All right. What do you got for a poll, buddy?
Is Brownie the clear-cut top golfer?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, because somebody said...
He'll wipe the floor with both of us.
Because somebody said on the stream that we need to do like the match, or the, what do they call it? Like but we'll do like a scramble. But they put me with, I think they put me with you, Shaugger, and I said I think I should be with Brownie, like as a 2 against 2 scramble. I said from what I understand, I think I should probably be with Brownie. Anyway, that'll be
makes sense.
Something for the summer.
I don't know if Struds and I on the same team out there. I'm not sure that's going to work. There's too much history there, too much to fight for. It's too competitive. I'm not sure we could be teammates out there, Struds.
Wow, geez, that's hard to hear. This Catan stuff's really going to your head. You won a board game, not an.
What do you got for?
Yeah, you won a board game, not World War III. Let's be.
His brand is.
What do you
winning,
got for polls, Zuby?
Okay, here's the poll. In light of his recent stretch of improved play and 3 goals in his last 5, we asked, how many goals will Jeff Skinner finish with this season? The options are 10 to 15, 16 to 20, 21 to 25, and 26 or more for the people who are really optimistic about Jeff Skinner's running downhill here in the last 20 games of the season.
You got to think he gets to 16, hey, Struds? You think?
I said 16 to 20. I do. I mean, he's starting to feel it. I mean, for him, maybe this breaks a bad time as well, right? Klingberg was +3 tonight.
Good
he
point.
was wheeling and dealing out there. And, when you're feeling it, you don't want to stop. You want to just keep playing. When you're not playing well, like, oh, man, let's get to this break. I got to shake it up a little bit. So, but, his confidence would be there. But I think the break is unfortunately going to not derail him, but it's not ideal for a guy trying to get on track.
All right, fire your vote in. And at the start of our Ask Us Anything segment, if we remember, we will revisit the results of the YouTube poll. All right, that was the breakdown brought to you by Alberta Ram Dealers. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Calvin Pickard. Another solid night. This guy continues to pile up the wins and pile up the stats. The best backup in the league. Are we there yet? Probably got to be in that hemisphere. Talk a little bit about Connor Bedard's game as well. That and tons more ahead on Got Your Back, presented by Play Alberta. We'll be right back.
Thinking of that dream vacation? A quick winter escape? Well, flight delays are dreadful. Hospital visits, not fun. Alberta Blue Cross gives you coverage for emergency medical care, cancellations, and lost baggage. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access or a hotel if the delay is too much. Plus 24/7 travel support ensures you're never left out in the cold. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn more.
Specializing in heavy-duty commercial truck powertrain repair, performance, tuning, and part sales, Adrenaline Diesel's professional team is ready to assist you with all of your needs, from the simplest oil changes to engine conversions, overhauls, and engine modifications. Featuring an all-new online parts store and machine shop to manufacture, replicate, or repair parts, visit adrenalinediesel.ca.
Whoa. Not as sure about that one, Zuby, but keep them coming, buddy. It's experimental night on Got Your Back. Time now for our takeaway segment, brought to you by Horizon Ag and Turf. Save up to $3,300 on select models of John Deere Gator side-by-sides. Great for the farm, jobs around the yard, or hit the trails. Starting at $257 a month. View their current lineup of Gators online at horizonagandturf.com or stop by one of their 13 Alberta locations to get into the seat of your next John Deere today. So Calvin Pickard continues to rattle off the wins. I believe it was 6 in a row. It was 5 straight coming in, I think they'd said. And Struds just steady performance after steady performance. I find it so impressive, the consistency that he's been able to bring, because the team's play in front of him in all of his starts has not been consistent, but he certainly has been.
Yeah, I would say he's punching above his weight. Like today, there were some pretty good chances he had to make some big saves on. I mentioned or referenced to Patty Maroon. There was a turnover, then Smith over to Maroon for a backdoor, pretty much a tap in, and he gets a toe on it or his heel on it, whatever it was. And that was a big save. So he's finding ways to not just save the one he should, he's saving ones he probably shouldn't. And, for a backup, that's just bonus. That's complete bonus for me.
Yeah, completely agree. Brownie, how are we doing tonight, pal? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very good. How are you guys?
Yeah.
You look good.
Good.
You look a little tired,
Yeah,
though,
thanks,
Shaugger.
buddy.
I mean, all of those resources you've had to buy and getting the right ports to get them out to the other places,
Bagged.
the victory lap you had to make, all those things. I'm proud of you. I just, in case I didn't get a chance to say it through my text and stuff, I'm proud of you, big guy.
Yeah. Well, and you don't even know the most of it, buddy. Like, you missed the beginning, but 3-0 today, man. 3 W's today.
Come on.
So I'm flying high tonight. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Nothing's
good.
going to get me down. No chirps from Struddy, no matter how deep they might cut. Not getting me down
No.
tonight. By the way, still kind of chuckling about Northern Farm Girls reading my, horoscope, that I'll try something new, and your suggestion being fruits and vegetables. It was listening in the car to Banff with the family, and there was a belly laugh from a bunch of them, and it pissed me off. But it was a good line, so I will give credit where credit is due. Mix in some color, I think he said at the time. Anyways, okay, Brownie, we talked about Jeff Skinner in the first segment, so we'll push that to the side now. He probably is going to come up in your Brownie points, I'm sure. We're going to get to Connor Bedard in a second here, but we were just talking a little bit about Calvin Pickard. And, how meaningful it is when your backup can give you as many quality starts as he's been able to give them, Brownie. Like, it just how teams might normally feel when a backup goes in. This team doesn't ever need to feel that way.
They don't. It's 14-4 in the season, 10-1, I think, in his last 11. And I know it's the Blackhawks, and you should beat the Blackhawks. But in all honesty, they don't get to overtime if it's not for Calvin Pickard. The last 12 minutes of this game was all Chicago. The Oilers turned the puck over left and right. The big save, I know you were talking about, the Patty Maroon one. I mean, that is a tap-in goal that Pickard took away from Maroon. So he's been excellent. And it's funny, I know that we've heard it on the podcast with on the little ticker where people write in, and I get it on our Ched broadcast, that the Oilers need an upgrade in net. And some say that they need an upgrade on Skinner, and we get a lot that say they need an upgrade on Pickard. And I wonder, like, how do you say that about Pickard? Your backup. He's been outstanding. But yeah, to me, he was he and Leon were the two best players. The thing is, Leon was good the last half of the game. Pickard was good all game long.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Brownie, let's circle back real quick on Jeff Skinner, because he's been a much talked about topic on the show. We kind of sensed maybe things were coming around for him a little bit, right? He was getting back into the coach's better graces. We saw that with opportunities given to him. And all of a sudden he gets dropped onto a top 6 line and one of the top 2 lines and produces on a night like this. So, what do you think a night like this can do for him? And what do you think of the decision to play him where they did?
It's a confidence boost for him. When you're an offensive player, you're expected to score. And when you're an offensive player, you want to play with other guys that can make you better. And obviously, playing with Leon is better than playing with Phil. I mean, nothing against Noah, but Leon's one of the top players in the world. And then when you get your chance, I can tell you when he didn't score in the first period, he had 3 whacks at it, 2 with the goalie saved, and then
crazy.
the third one, the defenseman Murphy saved. He actually got it up. Murphy made a glove save. Like, he's on the bench, and I guarantee in his head, he's like, if that was my chance and I don't play with Leon next game because I didn't score that, I'm going to be kicking myself for months. But he got another chance. And the thing that this is the difference between a Skinner and a Podkolzin or a lot of other players that have played in the top 6. Skinner's a pure goal scorer. The goal he scored, that is a goal scorer goal. That is on his stick, quick hands, up over the glove. That's somebody that has scored and scored a lot in the National Hockey League. He doesn't need 8, 9 chances. He's a guy that normally just needs 1. So Skinner was excellent in this hockey game. In the play, I like what Knobloch talked about. In the one play where he set up Leon, it was because he was in the right defensive positioning.
Yeah.
He was up high in the slot, and when the Blackhawks were trying to come out, the forward looking back, Skinner's there to take the puck away and gets it to Leon. The one thing he's learned in the last 50 games, players playing with Leon, get Leon the puck. If you get Leon the puck, guess what? He'll get it back to you. I thought Jeff Skinner was excellent in this hockey game.
What do you think Leon's thinking tonight now about Skinner? Does it change his opinion?
Yeah, I think it does. Well, the other 2 guys he's had for the last 40 games have 6 goals apiece going into the game. So, yeah, he's got a guy that's a pure goal scorer and got him the puck. The beginning, for Leon, he wants the puck. And that's the difference, that Skinner's never played with a guy that when he's in the offensive zone, his first look should be to Leon. Even, hey, I'm in a pretty good spot here. Well, actually, Leon, he's not in that good a spot right now, but I'm going to have to get him the puck. And I think he learned that. And tonight he moved the puck in the right places. And then when Leon has it, now you got to be prepared. And it was a really nice play on Skinner on his goal. He read the play, but Colson's going behind the net to Leon. He waited, then he darted and beat his guy to the net. And a player like Leon's going to get you the puck. So to me, he's earned another day on Leon's line. Now, I don't know how they'll do the lines against Colorado, but he's earned a spot in the top 6, I believe, after the way he played tonight. Again, it's only one night, but it was a really good night for him.
Yeah. Going to be interesting to see where they go with it from here. I think Skinner's one of those players, too, that he's willing to shoot the puck from anywhere. He'll shoot it from the goal line. He'll shoot it from, far away. He'll kind of, like, any shot on net seems like a good shot on net in his books, which, I think is good. I think it's an important asset to have. But when you're playing with Leon, a lot of times, a shot's like a turnover. Hey, Brownie, at times, like those low percentage shots aren't always viewed by the star players as they're heading back to the bench because they're changing as the right play in the moment. And so there were a couple times you almost sensed Skinner might have thought about just ripping it on net and instead just pause and make a play. And you don't ever want to discourage guys from shooting, Brownie, but it's okay to give it that little extra thought to see if 29 might be open.
Well, the best part about it is it doesn't take long to realize that you should have passed it, because you will get the look as soon as you shoot the puck, and all of a sudden you get and he goes back to the bench. So yes, it is hard. And that's the problem for Skinner. When Skinner played in Buffalo, he had to create his own opportunities, and he's very good on his edges, and he will dipsy doodle and he will try to toe drag some, and he didn't always get, and sometimes he turned it over, but he would sometimes get the play. Leon doesn't like giving the other team the puck ever. And as you said, if you shoot the puck and it doesn't go in, that's a turnover. You just gave them the puck. So he does not like that. He's waiting. I will tell you when it's time to shoot, because I will give you the best possibility to score a goal. And Connor's like that too. So the problem is, playing with superstars, they think the game different than anyone else. So what you see in front of you, they see this much. You see this little teeny spot. So, but I do believe he's learned over the last 50 games just watching to see what Leon likes, what Leon doesn't like. And today he looked a little more in tune with the way that Leon plays the game.
Sure. He wants it to work. He wants it to work. I really think Skinner wants this to work. So I think he's willing to bend.
Yeah.
I think he's willing to bend. And from everything you've said, Shaugger, from what we've seen, what he's trying, I think he really wants this to work. So I think he's going to mold his game to suit Leon. I really do believe that.
I did some more asking around last week too on Skinner and kind of what it's been like and integrating him into the room and, you know, with things not going well and stuff. And the same information that I got before was, you know, reaffirmed even more. Like there's no level of pouting, no level of poor me, no level of anything that had been going on with him. It was just strictly wanting to figure it out and work his way into this opportunity. So good on him. Good on the staff for, you know, I know there's been some frustration there, but you read the signs. And when a guy shows you that maybe he's ready for things to be a little different, lean into him, give him that opportunity. I like the fact that they did that. They leaned into him here. And now they have, at least for the moment, a usable player that might otherwise have been able to just be left by the wayside if you're not paying close enough attention, Brownie.
You know what? Saying all of that, Shaugger, it sounds like that's the way it should be, and it should, but it isn't always. There have been players that have come. There will be players that'll pout. There will be players that'll become a problem in the dressing room, and it happens. And from up above, we can watch. Always got a smile on his face. His work ethic is always the same. There's never any public complaining, and we've had players come through here that have publicly complained. So he's earning the respect of his teammates and his coach, and that's why he's getting an opportunity. And I really do hope that it works out for Jeff Skinner, because the guy he can score, and the Oilers desperately need some scoring from their wingers in their middle six.
I just feel so curious what he's going to look like in his first playoff game. Like you just wind him up and let him go and just see, because he's got some skills there and he can still move. And I'm interested to see what that might potentially look like. So we'll see what the rest of the story is here. There's a couple more chapters to be written before the end of the season on Jeff Skinner and how it goes with the Oilers.
Can I jump in?
Yeah, Zuby?
Quickly on that. Jesse Bitts here, he's mad at Brownie. He says, Brownie, you said last week he would not play in the playoffs. And he goes on to say, I agreed. And now he's the man. Unreal. But just do you is your position on it changing, or how many more games or how much more extended play of this type would you have to see from Jeff Skinner to change your mind entirely?
Okay, the one thing that I will say is whenever I make a prediction, I stay with it. I'll stay with it from the very beginning. I said I didn't think Skinner would be here for game 83. I'll stay with that. I hope he is. I hope he plays well enough that the Oilers don't have to go out and overpay for someone to come in and hopefully be the guy that plays with Leon. The Oilers need someone to play with Leon. They do. The Arvidsson put Colson thing, it didn't work. It hasn't worked. They need somebody there. If it's Jeff Skinner, great. But I will stay with what I said. I think that this was a good night. Jeff Skinner was very good. But I said all along, I don't think he'll be here for game 83, and I'll stay with that.
And again, as Struds pointed out earlier, right, it's the Chicago Blackhawks, and certainly no disrespect intended towards them. But at the same time, it's a different type of challenge. And we'll see what happens with the Colorado Avalanche rolling into town and what decisions are made and how he looks if he's trusted with that opportunity in that game. Okay, before we wrap up takeaways, wanted to get you guys' thoughts on what we saw from Connor Bedard tonight. So I guess I saw some stuff on Twitter. Biz and the crew at TNT were getting into him a little bit. Pond hockey, I think, was a term that was used, and just talking about how there's definitely lots of areas of his game that need to get tightened up a little bit. I'm not going to misquote them, but that was the point. So I saw some of that action on Twitter. Just want your thoughts, Brownie, on what you see from this young player that, you know, on a night where Connor McDavid rolls into town, that has to be a night where he wants to show his best, I would assume, and what you saw from him in his game tonight.
Okay, but before we go at the end of this, I got three things that changed the game for an Oiler victory. I'll say that afterwards.
Okay.
But with Bedard, excellent first period. That was the best I'd seen him play. I can't say live because we watched it on TV, but that's the best I've seen him play against the Oilers. In the first period, he made plays. He had a number of grade A scoring chances. He was all over the place. He was very good. Second period, he was the exact opposite. He was turning the puck over. He took 2 penalties. There was one turnover. It was a 2-on-2, and his man beat him badly to the net. Janmark did. It looked like he quit on the back check. It was not a good second period. So he went from an A+ in the first. He was an F in the second. In the third period, he was okay, but he's trying too hard. The problem, and we talked about it with John Shannon in the show on the pregame show with Chad, I do not believe that Connor Bedard is a generational player. I think Connor Bedard is a very good hockey player and is going to have a nice, really nice career, and he'll be a star in this league. I think there was too much pressure put on him by his organization, by everyone. Like we talked about it here. You guys thought Connor Bedard they should have a spot for him on the Four Nations thing because he'll be on the Olympic team. I don't know if he's a chance of him being on the Olympic team. I think he's good. I think
don't think I said that.
Better.
I think Struds
You
said
guys
that.
talked. You said that
did.
you said that.
I'm like, I'll
Struds
stand by
did.
that. I'll stand by
Yeah,
it.
and I don't.
Wasn't me.
To me, there's so many players that are not on the Four Nations that are better, like a Scheifele, like a Duchesne, like a Hyman.
Yeah.
He's good, but I think there's so much pressure. Connor versus Connor. Connor Bedard is a very good player. He's not in the stratosphere of Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl or Nathan McKinnon or any of those players. And I think that sometimes all that pressure weighs on him and he feels he has to do more than he does. And we saw that in the second period where he was trying to create things that he should not have been doing. And that, I think, really set the Blackhawks back in the second period because their star player kept turning the puck over and then got frustrated and then took 2 penalties. That was not a good second period for him. So he was at times great in this game, and at times he really struggled.
If they put Paul Bissonnette and Jason Strudwick on his wings, I'm not sure his stats would be that much different. He's a freedom fighter out there right now. Who's the next best player on his team?
Ryan Donato, and I thought Donato was the best player for the Blackhawks tonight.
Yeah, so Ryan Donato on a Stanley Cup winning team is probably coming and putting his gear on.
But he still outplayed Bedard in this game.
Yeah, but this team, this is a weak team. It's not a good team.
Yep.
So I think that I get right now. I know Mess gave him some hard times, and it sounds like tonight they gave him some hard times. But he's on his own. He's on his own out there, guys. He's got nobody to play with. He was even close to his level. So I give the guy a big pass. I agree with you, Brownie. I don't think he's up with McDavid and those guys. But I think right now he's being asked to do stuff by himself. And there's just no one there to help him. Who's the next best player? Like Donato at best is a third line player at best.
Yeah, but I don't think they're. I mean, I thought Teravainen was good in this game. I thought what's the kid?
Player, probably right.
Yeah, he is. I understand. There's no one as good as him, but those guys, I thought they outplayed him in this game. I thought Bedard in the second period wasn't good. He's got his talent level is fantastic, but he's trying to do
the whole year, Brownie. Look at the whole year. Like it's not. Look at the whole year. Like there's nobody. There's just. It's not fair. It's not fair to try to compete.
I also throw out the fact that their GM made some horrible trades. Why do you trade Kirby Dach? He's a young player that you're trying to build around. Why do you trade Brandon Hagel? They could have had better players around him. I think the GM just screwed up here and got rid of really good players that would have made. They were not going to be a playoff team, but they would be a lot more competitive with the players that they got rid of for draft picks. Who Bedard will be 5 years into the league before those draft picks even come close to playing. So I think this is a lot on the Chicago Blackhawks organization.
Yeah, the GM has to step up and start adding some players. They're elite players. You can't. And so, listen, I've one particular play I'll talk about in Struds' world about what I saw from him, and there are areas of the game he has to clean up, but he's doing a lot of freedom fighting right now, guys. From what I see,
I think back to the dog days, when Taylor Hall first got here, and some of those years he had where the team was out of it, like so early on in the season. You have so many nights where you're trying to learn to become a top flight offensive NHL player, but there's just not a lot around you. You're feeling, you're competitive and you want to win. Like I see from Bedard, he still has fire. He's still competitive. He wants to win every night. And I would way rather have to sort of coach out of a guy trying to do too much than see a guy start to die on the vine a little bit. And I don't see that from Bedard. Don't want to see that from Bedard. So I'm okay with the way he's taken it, but certainly wasn't his best night tonight. And there's always going to be a spotlight on him. And, analysts are always going to focus in on him, and rightfully so. He came with a lot of hype. But there's, nothing but patience. And he's heading in a great direction. Like the base of skill there, the way he can get that shot off. He's going to be an excellent goal scorer in this league for quite a while.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The problem for him, and this is, I don't know if it's a problem, is he's a Canadian player that everyone eyes up. Like Celebrini is in San Jose having a really nice year. No pressure on that kid.
Yeah.
None. And he's having a really good year. And they went and got him a Toffoli, a guy to play in that's line, play a power play, guy always scores. Bedard,
Yeah.
I think the pressure they put on him, Connor versus Connor, the very first time they played against, and I like Bedard, but he's not McDavid. But three things that happened in this game tonight that allowed the Oilers to win. Dickinson got hurt. Dickinson against Leon throughout the game, like Leon was getting frustrated. And Dickinson, for the first 40 minutes, Leon had nothing. Dickinson gets hurt. Leon's line scores 2 goals in the third period. And then in overtime, obviously the big one, you can't take it too many men on the ice penalty. That cost them. But before that, Evan Bouchard iced the puck. In overtime, the entire thing in overtime is have puck possession. When Evan Bouchard iced the puck, the Chicago goalie's got to come out and play it and set it up. And now the Blackhawks have the puck. Instead, he stays in his net. They get the icing. Now it's a face-off, but you're taking a face-off against Leon Draisaitl. The Oilers win the face-off. You don't get any puck possession. That was a young player, an inexperienced mistake. If they ice the puck, you come out and you set that puck up. Now, Seth Jones has the puck, and the Blackhawks have control 3-on-3 in overtime. That was a big mistake, big subtle mistake by the Chicago Blackhawks that eventually led to the too many men on the ice penalty.
Great pickup. Love that. That's a fantastic point. Okay, that was Takeaways brought to you by Horizon Ag and Turf. We have a late night game of Catan to get to, so I am going to shut her down for the night, guys. Oh, yeah. Come on, Brownie. We're in Banff. You think we're going to shut her down at 11:30? Come on, buddy. There's lots of time left for late night Catan games, so I'll text you guys the results a little bit later. I will leave this show in your capable hands the rest of the way, good sirs, and we will check in on Friday night. So lots more still ahead. Brownie Point, Struddy's World. Ask us anything. I'm leaving. Things are looking up. Stay with us here on Got Your Back.
With over 18 years in the industry, Kelly Zaretsky and her team at Blue Summit Accounting deliver client-focused solutions and financial guidance for success in a simple and comfortable way. Whether it's for corporate or personal needs, Blue Summit Accounting can help with taxes, estate planning, financial services, bookkeeping, and more. Get in touch today. Email bluesummitacct@gmail.com or call 780-416-9662.
At Gallery Dental, we believe in blending exceptional care with artistry to create the perfect smile for you. From routine cleanings to advanced cosmetic procedures, our team is dedicated to providing top-notch care in a relaxed and comfortable environment. With state-of-the-art technology and a passion for perfection, we ensure that every visit is a positive experience. Join the Gallery Dental family and let us help you achieve a smile that you'll love to show off. Contact us today at secolanddentistry.com.
All right, let's do this. He's back playing the Travelers of Catan. We don't want to interrupt him. So we'll roll through a bunch of information. There's tons of stuff I want to get to here outside of the Oilers game, which was pretty exciting. So we'll start with Take a Trip, brought to you by Alberta Blue Cross. If you're planning a trip, whether it's a dream vacation, a quick winter escape, or a trip to watch Oilers play, don't forget travel insurance. Alberta Blue Cross has got your back with emergency medical care, cancellations, lost baggage, and more. Flexibility, reliability, even lounge access or hotel if the delay is too much. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel to learn more. All right, guys. Brownie, take a trip. Couple items. The Vancouver Canucks shifted the look of their team quite considerably when they moved out JT Mailer, got a first rounder back. They turned that first rounder and flipped it back over to Pittsburgh for a couple players along with some of theirs. But one was the big Marcus Pettersson. They have 3 Petterssons there. They basically have the Hanson brothers. But today they give Pettersson a 6-year extension. I think it's $5.5 million a year. Now, there is a relationship with, obviously, Jim Rutherford was previously with Pittsburgh, so he knew Pettersson. But this didn't take long. They identified the player they wanted, and they went out and nailed that spot down. So Pettersson will be at this group now for 6 years, and the Oilers have to play against this another tall player there in Vancouver.
I mean, what an upgrade they made. Vinny Desharnais, who we all know and enjoyed when he played here in Edmonton. but Darnay had not fit in Vancouver. It had been a struggle. He'd been in and out of the lineup. So they move him to Pittsburgh, and they bring in a top 4 defenseman. And I think he's averaging 24 minutes a night, I think Pettersson is with Vancouver. That is an upgrade. He is a good defenseman, and he is now there for 6 years. So they got better on the back end. Now, if the Vancouver Canucks want to compete and be the team that they were last year, now they got to upgrade up front. They got to find someone that can score again.
Yeah.
That is a huge hole. Huge hole. I've watched A.T. Miller play twice now with the Rangers. Oh, I just remember how he played all playoffs against the Oilers. So yeah, Pettersson on the back end, Marcus Pettersson, I think that is a very good signing by the Vancouver Canucks. I think he will solidify a defense that is led by Quinn Hughes.
Interesting side note, according to Frank Saravalli, Carson Soucy is available, which surprised me. So you got rid of Darnay. You're now bringing Pettersson, the D-man. Well, the Swedish. Well, they're all Swedish D-men there. I guess Marcus, and then perhaps moving Soucy out. Now I don't know if that's going to come to pass, but Frank is usually pretty dead nuts on with his conversations. Ryan Hartman, we outlined it the other night, Brownie, that he got a 10-game suspension for pile driving Stützle's head into the ground off a face-off. He is now, the NHLPA on his behalf is going to appeal it, that 10-game suspension. I believe, Brownie, this isn't so much about the length of the suspension as the money. The suspension is going to cost him $48,000 per game. So if they're able to knock that down 2, 3, 4 games or whatever it is, that saves them a lot of cash. The problem is sometimes this takes a long time. So let's say they decide to reduce it down to 4. Well, he may have already sat out 6 or 7 games. But the appeal process isn't the best in the NHL. But I do believe this is about the money because we saw Tom Wilson go from 20 to 14 when he was suspended for 20 games a couple years ago, and that saved him a lot of cash.
$480,000. That's a lot of money. Here's the problem I have with the NHLPA doing this. The NHLPA they represent the players. So they're going out there and fighting for Mike Hartman. They're saying, you know what? He's one of our players. We're going to fight for him. But that is also the union for the guy that got his head slammed into the ice and cut wide open. I'm like, I'm mad. Kate, wait a second. My union, the union that I'm paying my dues to, is protecting a guy that just, pile drove my face right into the ice. I hate that. I hate when the union gets involved and they're helping out the vicious player and not saying, hey, you know what? You just hurt one of our star players of our league, one of our union members. You hurt him. We're not going to try and get this knocked down. You deserve every one of those 10 games. So that bugs me about the union that it does that. And anytime it's ever been where they've ever appealed it, it is always the union that does it. And I've never liked that. I just haven't. I think if you represented the entire union and you took a vote, a straw poll of all the players in the league, I bet you'd have about 95% of the league would say, hey, no, keep it at 10. We want him suspended for what he did.
Yeah, no, well said. Well said. And this process takes a while. So I don't think this is going to happen after the weekend, but it'll be interesting to see what they do. Again, I think maybe they bring it down a little bit to take some of that money off. All right, that was I did take a trip, didn't I? Damn. I was supposed to.
No, that's what's in the rundown.
It was take a lap. Okay, yeah. Take a lap.
All right. That was taking a trip, taking a lap, still coming.
Okay, well, I did the wrong thing. I mixed them up. Take a trip is when we have a player.
You did the wrong
take
content.
A lap, I'll do the player. I was really dialed in to taking that lap. So apologize. Take a trip. We'll do it a little bit later when we talk about a player that's going to be traded. So let's move on now to Struddy's World. When you make a mistake, heads should roll. It's not right. And I'm here. Someone has to put their foot down. Now that I say it out loud, it does sound a little crazy.
Gotta look good.
Struddy's World brought to you by DLR Vinyl Products with locations in Calgary and Edmonton. If you're a contracting business or a contractor, let DLR help you add vinyl fence to your product line. Reliable, unmatched service with high quality, North American made products. Visit dlrvinylproducts.ca. Everyone's jumping on Bedard, so I'm going to jump on Bedard here too. And I'm going to talk about as far as if I was a more veteran player on his team. There's a play today, I've seen him do it in other games, where he came across the blue line with speed and they were off the rush. And to me, it looked like there's maybe some options there to move the puck forward, slide it, maybe a slip pass underneath the D-man stick over, whatever. Instead, he did what looks great and fans love it, but nothing really comes of it, where he drove and he does a hard turn to his right, then just fires a backhand pass into the middle of the ice. Now, every now and then it'll hit someone's tape and people will talk about the genius of what's that pass. But more often than not, that is what I call a hope pass. Even though he's a highly skilled player, you're hoping it gets close to the guy, you're trying to catch someone off guard. But this doesn't really move the game forward for your team. I think they'd rather keep possession, keep it going forward, and put it deeper into the zone. And again, not suggesting you dump it in, but take it a little deeper, maybe even do a turn back, a button hook, and then find the late guy coming. So Brownie, you were a much more offensive player than I was, but when I see those type of plays from young players, I just feel it's like it looks great, but more often than not, nothing really comes from it.
I think that was where Biz and those guys were talking about pond hockey. That'd be a play that my son would use in his Xbox NHL game.
Right.
It's funny. I was fortunate enough to live here in Edmonton when Gretzky played. The superstars in the league were superstars because they made all the easy plays 100% of the time. Gretzky didn't go back and watch the plays he made. He wasn't doing all these spinoramas through his legs. He just, every time he made a pass, it was tape to tape. If he had a guy open, he got him the puck. I know the exact play you're talking about. It even on TV, Jack Michaels talked about it. He had a guy open. And if he makes a nice, hard forehand pass, that player probably beats his defenseman and gets a chance. Instead, he tried to make, as you said, a hope play or a pretty play, and then it got broken up and it went the other way. There was no need for that. So I think that goes back to, I think there's the pressure on him to be special every time he touches the puck. Sometimes the simple play is the right play, and you can create more by just making a 10-foot or a 15-foot tape-to-tape pass than you do where you try to do 7 circles at the blue line and then find a guy that's through 4 sets of skates, because sometimes you turn the puck over. And we saw that tonight, and it cost the Blackhawks a few times. So the talent level he's got is through the roof. But sometimes you just need to simplify your game. And I agree with you. That's something that a veteran player takes him aside and says, hey, you know what? Let's look at the video. Here's what you should have done, and here's why.
Yeah, the options, because it's not I want not skilled plays, but just take it deeper. Let's keep possession. We're 3 pretty good players. Let's hold on to that puck and make plays and kind of get buzzing around. And and I know there's probably some comments popping in while we see Leon make those plays. We do at times, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. I feel like he does it a little bit deeper in the zone. This was just over the blue line.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I get really jumpy as a D-man when I see a guy doing that, because if that's poked off his stick or redirected, boom, it's coming back on me. And usually the good players are out against good players. And that's a rough sequence to try to deal with, Brownie. All right. Yeah, that was Struddy's world. And Bedard, I think he's going to be a really good player, but he needs help. He needs help, right?
Oh, God,
right,
yeah. 100%
right
he
now.
does.
He needs help right now. Okay, let's go to everyone's favorite part of the show, Brownie Points. Hit it, Zoob, with the special tunes. Brownie Points is brought to you by Hamel's Premium Jerky. Their beef jerky is out of this world, literally. Hamel's Meats sent their sweet and spicy jerky to the International Space Station in 2009 as part of their project to introduce authentic yet space-friendly food. For the month of February, buy 2 pounds of jerky for $70 and get a free bonus quarter-pound mystery flavor pack. As always, free shipping Alberta-wide. Hop on to albertajerky.com to order yours and enter code GOTYOURBACK for an additional 10% off. Brownie, where are you taking us today, buddy?
Well, I'm going to start by giving a whole bunch out. I'm going to give 121 brownie points to Jimmy Butler. He forced his way out of Miami today by being a problem. He'd been suspended 3 times in the last 2 months. He finally got his wish and is traded to the Warriors, where he immediately signed a new 2-year contract. 2 years, not 10, not 15. He signed a 2-year contract for $121 million. Apparently it pays to be a bad teammate, quit on your team, and forced your team to get rid of you. So Jimmy Butler just got a lot richer. And then we'll go to the hockey side of it. Contracts, 33 for Marcus Pettersson, who signed for $33 million over 6 years with the Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks are trying to recover from the dressing room drama they had this year, and they spent big money on the new defenseman coming over from Pittsburgh. I think this was a good move by the Vancouver Canucks. They got a quality defenseman that they have now signed for the next 6 years. So that's a good one for the Canucks. I got 5 brownie points to Jeff Skinner. He had finally earned his shot back into the top 6, and he rewarded his coach with 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points, +2. And he is now 5th on the team in goals. 5th. And this is a guy that has spent most of his season on the 4th line and healthy scratched. And right now he's 5th on the team. The only guys with more goals on the team are the 4 forwards that play on the first power play unit. I've got 14 brownie points to Calvin Pickard. To me, he was the best Oiler tonight. From start to finish, he gave them a chance to gain a point in overtime, and then eventually they stole the second point. And he continues to impress at 14-4 on the season as your backup. That's got to be the best record of any backup in the National Hockey League. I'm guessing someone can prove me wrong. And my final one, it's -16. -16 brownie points to Jason Dickinson. Number 16 from the Blackhawks was outstanding in this hockey game. He was going head-to-head against Leon. He ran Leon 3 times. Leon 3 times slashed him afterwards and had some words going back to the bench. But then he got hurt late in the second period. He didn't come back for the third. And then Leon's line had a different centerman to play against. Leon goes out. He has 2 points. His line scores 2 goals. And it was a difference in this hockey game. So unfortunately for Jason Dickinson, an injury in this game took out the Chicago Blackhawks' best defensive forward. And those, Struds, are brownie points.
Yeah, well said, man. And the Dickinson, if you didn't see it, he kind of collapsed on his own knee and it kind of bent in a weird way. Yeah, and you can tell when a guy pops up and he's not putting weight on, they dragged him off right away. Not dragged him, but got him off. It's like he knows something's not right. And I just cringed because I really like him. I like him as a player.
I think he'd be
really
a fantastic
role. Yeah.
And
29 years old.
the part is, and the thing with the injuries too, it was just so innocent. But Colson was skating by him. They both
100%.
banged. They banged skates, and then he just went down. It's amazing how bad an injury can happen on something that was so innocent looking, but that did not look good when he left the ice.
No, really tough, really tough. And it'll be interesting. I mean, I'm sure we'll hear about it before the Four Nations break, but I feel bad for him. And it's just one less player to be around, for Connor Bedard to help out because he's a good centerman. He eats a lot of hard minutes. And as you said, he's just doing a great job against Leon.
He's one of those guys that's teaching Bedard how to play the right way because he plays the right way on that team.
He does. Yeah. He's a hell of a player. And young. I think he has 1 more year after this year. He's youngish. He's 29, so I don't know. He's not a spring chicken. Okay, that was brownie points. Let's dip into the world of core blue liners. Brought to you by our good friends at HSC Core Services. If you're a small to medium-sized business, HSC Core has your back when it comes to health and safety compliance. From creating and managing a tailored health and safety program that meets all legislation and core requirements, HSC Core supports clients' operations every step of the way. Visit www.hsccore.com. That's hsccore.com for more info. Okay, Brownie. Seth Jones. That's the gentleman we're going to highlight today for the Chicago Blackhawks. Was with Columbus, moved over to Chicago. Kind of as it felt like they were that the sun was setting on their good team, and all of a sudden, like, hey, we're tearing this thing down. And he's like, what? And he's sitting around. He signed this long contract there. So let's talk about what he is. To me, he moves pretty. He's a huge guy. Moves pretty well. He's got a hard shot. He's not the fastest skater, but he takes up a lot of space. He kind of gets in the way a lot out there. He's having a pretty decent offensive season this year as far as points. 24 points in 36 games is pretty decent. But unfortunately, I don't want to make this conversation so much as a player about what he is, because I think we know what he is. To me, it's the timing of his age, his contract, and is this a player that maybe you look to move if you're the Blackhawks? Because he's, this team is not winning for at least 2 more years, at least.
Oh God,
Now, to
yeah.
be fair, he's got a contract that runs I think he's a UFA in 2030. So he's got some time, and he may love it there. I mean, Chicago's a great city, and I get it. But Brownie, the timing, he's 30 years old. Does he want to wait for 2-3 more years for this thing to somewhat come together? And now you're, getting into your 30s. And like I said, he's not the best moving defenseman, so his skating will start to drop off. I don't know. I mean, I think there may be something out there for him at 9.5. That's a lot. They may have to eat some, and they may not want to, but fitting him in and staying there for that long, ooh, man, that's maybe a tough one.
Well, and you're hoping the team will be better in 3 years. There's no, I mean, they got rid of a bunch of good young players. Like, it's draft picks that are, I mean, it might be 5 years before they're any good. And now all of a sudden he's just finishing his career. To me, that I feel sorry for him as much as you can feel sorry for someone that signed for $80 million. But he was coming to a team that he thought was going to be a competitive team that would, maybe challenge for a Stanley Cup. And then they got rid of everybody. And now he's on this team where it's like, hey, wait a second. This is a team that is going to be a bottom feeder. I'm eating up the last part of my career. He's right now, this would be this last year, this year, and next year would be probably the sweet spot of his career. I know a defenseman at 29, 30, that's when they really find their game. And I don't know if you can move him. I mean, that's a lot of money, 9.5. Like, that might be.
It's a lot of cash.
It's one of the worst contracts in the National Hockey League. That was a mistake made by the Blackhawks. So I don't know what you do there. I was impressed with this game today. I thought he played well. I've seen him play other games where I'm like, ooh, but I thought he played well. But it would be tough coming to the rink every day as a 30-year-old player, knowing that the remainder of your career, and you're right in the peak part of it, the remainder of your career, you're going to be playing on a team that is going to win 16 to 25 games a season, and you'll be more or less out of the playoffs by mid-January. So I would love to see him go somewhere else. I just don't know if any team can afford to have him. I don't know what salary cap. Now, the one thing though, salary caps are going up. So maybe there'll be some teams at the bottom of the salary thing, retention, and they'll be able to take him, a better team. He can help a team, but his career is dying here in Chicago.
So they have two spots taken up by retain. Now, both those are off after this year, so they could hold it. But I mean, to hold that for 5-6 years, that's a long time to put a spot.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Blackhawks make a lot of money, but that would be a long time. One last thing on that, he's almost even 5-on-5. Like, he's hanging in there 5-on-5 on a team that's struggling. Compared to some of his other teammates, he's actually doing pretty well. Okay, let's before we go to break, let's get to a scoreboard. A lighter night in the NHL as far as games, but one that has some implication for the Oilers. So, scoreboard brought to you by Canadian Club. This is what Shaugger's sipping as he plays another game of the Settlers of Catan. The all-new Canadian Club Classic 18-year-old high proof comes in at an incredible 58%. Their highest proof Canadian Club Classic to date is a full-bodied whiskey with aromas of caramel, toffee, spicy vanilla, rich oak with a butterscotch finish. All right, let's get to these games. 3 games, as I mentioned. We know the Oilers won 4-3 in overtime. You got the Canadians losing to the Kings 6-3. This was quite the battle. Fiala got his 20th goal of the year. With this one, the Kings creep a little bit closer, or stay with the Oilers, but creep a little closer to the Kings in that race, that 3-way race at the top of the Pacific Division. And then you got the Rangers and the Bruins. Earlier today, the Rangers won 3-2 on a shorthanded goal by Chris Kreider. Always hard, Brownie, to lose a game on a shorthanded goal, especially when it's Bruins, Rangers.
2 teams that are fighting for the last playoff spot. And I watched that game, and the Bruins, I think it was about 8 minutes to go in the game, they got a power play, and they're thinking, all right, here's our chance. And you should have seen, how Darnell Nurse jumps up on when they're shorthanded and he flies by 3 guys and somehow beats everyone up the ice? That was Chris Kreider. He was probably 15 feet behind David Pastrnak, and he passed him by about 15 feet. And it was a wonderful pass by Zibanejad, and Kreider made no mistake. But yeah, you're right. To lose a game in the third period, the Bruins were up 2-1. They lost 3-2 on a shorthanded goal in the third period. That was a big loss for a team that is you're fighting with for a playoff spot. The Rangers look good in that game today.
Yeah, they might just be coming around at the right time. They might just be getting it done. All right, still lots to come after the break. We're going to get to taking a trip, even though I kind of did it. Right? We're going to talk about a D-man that I think will take a trip, and then ask us anything. So get those into the stream, and then we'll wrap it up with the play of the day. That more next here on the big show.
So at Timberhouse, our guiding philosophy is naturally inspired living. We believe that through design, we can solve problems and enhance people's lives. We follow biophilic design principles in all of our builds to incorporate natural materials, natural light, to enhance all the spaces in a home. When you have your space perfectly reflect who you are and what you value, and it's made well, we think that that just leads to better living.
Ready to go all in this season? Mr. Dirk's got you covered with express on-site tailoring, a wide selection of craftsman-made suits, sport coats, and casual staples for every occasion. Score big with Mr. Dirk. We've always got your back. Visit us off White Ave, south of 102nd Street, or browse online at mrdirk.com.
Oh, geez. The remix version.
Remix is nice
Liking
coming
it.
back out of commercial, I think.
It is. Yeah,
I think
just
that's
keep
where
it fresh, right?
I think that's where these are going to live.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I mistakenly did take a lap earlier instead of take a trip. So right now we're going to do take a trip, but at the time we usually do take a lap. So this is brought to you by Acon. If you're a skilled trade person or a construction professional looking for work in Western Canada, Acon wants to hear from you. One of Canada's original industrial contractors, they're building some of the largest multi-year industrial projects in Western Canada, and you can be a part of it. They're looking for skilled tradespeople and construction professionals to join the Acon team and start building what matters today. Join Acon now by sending your resume to trades@acon.com. All right, I was pretty excited about this one. We're going back to Utah Hockey Club, soon to be renamed, I hope not the Outlaws. Ian Cole, not too big a guy, but very thick, strong D-man that plays for Utah. We know that they're starting to get a bit more healthy now, and there might be there's a gap created between them and playoff teams, so they might be sort of pushing some of these guys out. Ian Cole, when I think of him, Brownie, I think of a guy that is a penalty killer. He is a massive penalty killer for this team. He and Sergachev kill by far the most minutes of penalties on the back end for that team. And I double checked, and Utah's the sixth best penalty kill in the league. So obviously he's a productive and good penalty killer on a good penalty killing unit, which obviously helps a lot. So a team looking to bolster their penalty kill, a guy who's probably in your 5-6, I think this is the perfect opportunity for them to look at Ian Cole, who I believe will be making a trip prior to the trade deadline in about a month.
Well, he will be because this will be his 7th team in his last 6 years. He makes a trip every year. He moves on. He's everything I've heard. He's a good team guy, guy that guys like around. He's got experience. He's played in the playoffs. He's been around for forever. A veteran player that you get at the deadline. He gives you just a little more comfort as a depth defenseman. Play him as your 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever you want. But having him around in the dressing room, you feel a little safer. I look at what the Oilers have right now, and like you've got Stetcher is 7 and Brown is 8. Now I'm not saying the Oilers are going to get Ian Cole, but Ian Cole would be ahead of those two if they were to bring Ian Cole in, because he can do something that Stetcher can't. He would be a very good penalty killing defenseman. So a team will look at an Ian Cole to bring in, and it just gives them that little safety in case something goes wrong with their defense. He can move up a little bit. He can be in your top 4 for short spurts if you need it. But he would be a number 5-6 defenseman that I do believe, Struds, that as Utah falls out of it, they will try to recoup a draft pick or something and move Ian Cole on to a playoff bound team.
Yeah, I like the way you say that. He would be a great fit in that role. Now, Utah has space to have a retained salary here. He's at 3.1 million. So let's say you cut that in half just to make the math easy. Say it's 1.5 plus the shortened time of the year. So, he wouldn't be that crazy expensive to bring in. And have that depth there would be a really positive thing. I thought you made an interesting point yesterday about his playoff series against the Canucks, against the Oilers last year. So maybe just kind of quickly just give us revisit that, because I was howling to him when I was making my notes about it.
Well, I've never seen a player have so much bad luck in one series as Ian Cole did against the Oilers. He was schleprock. He had the little black cloud over his head, and it rained on him every game. He would turn one way and he would accidentally trip someone and get a penalty, and the Oilers would score. He would be playing the 2-on-1. The puck would go off his foot and go into the net, his own net. He would try to pass it out and he would fan on it. He'd give it to the Oiler and they would score. He probably caused 8 goals in the series himself. It just like everything that could possibly go wrong. And I felt so sorry. I'm working for the Oilers and cheering for the Oilers, but feeling so sorry for this guy in the Canucks that who's a good person and a much better player than he showed. But everything he did in that, even when he's like, okay, that my guy's wide open right there, and he'd pass it and it would explode off that guy's stick and come back against him. So I've never, and I said it last year in the playoffs, I've never seen one player have a series where everything went wrong for every single game as Ian Cole did last year against the Oilers. So we should get him.
Tough. Yeah, really tough. Yeah, he works well playing for the Oilers, that's for sure. All right, that was taking a lap. So Zuby, let's do this. Why don't we wrap up the poll to make sure we have that covered 100%, because I think that might spark a little bit of conversation about Skinner before we get into Ask Us Anything.
Sure, I like that. Let's see, where am I on the poll? Oh, here we are. Hey, fellas. Okay. Yeah, wrapping up the DeBoer's Golf Shop and Fitting Center YouTube poll tonight. We said, how many goals will Jeff Skinner finish this season with? Probably not surprisingly, that 16 to 20 range coming out on top. 59% of the votes, 10 to 15. So folks think he's this little spurt's going to taper off. 26%, 11% saying 21 to 25, and 26 or more, only 2%. That was expected. Well over 400 votes, and man, it's hard because it's about the opportunity, but the number that popped into my head was 21. Maybe he gets to, just for fun, maybe he gets to 21. So I didn't actually do a vote in the poll, but I bumped that one up by a 1/10%.
Yeah, if he gets to 21, he'll be playing beside Leon. That's for sure, heading into the playoffs.
Because I'm looking right now, they've got 28 games left, if I'm doing my math right. Is that correct?
I think so.
So
yeah,
I think they played 54. So they have 28 games left. He's at 10. For him to get 10 more in 28 games, that's a nice pace. Because right now it took him 40 games to get to 10. So if he gets to 21, well, he's played with Leon, and then you don't need to you're not making a trade at the deadline for someone else to play there. As you said, it was Chicago. It wasn't a world-beating team. It was a period. I mean, really, it was the third period where he had that. It'll be interesting Friday to see if they keep them together, because a lot of times when they play Colorado, they like Connor and Leon together to go head-to-head against McKinnon. So we'll see what happens on Friday. But the coach has talked a lot of nice things about Skinner lately. I hope it works out for him. I hope I'm wrong and he is playing game 83 for the Oilers. But I'm going to go 16 to 20 goals for him. And I'm going to be positive for him. I really am. And I hope he gets it.
I love it. We're all in agreement. Now we want to hear from you. We love the stream. A great stream tonight on the second last game before the break for the Edmonton Oilers. So let's get to Ask Us Anything, brought to you by BJ Electric Supplies, an Edmonton-based independent electric wholesaler offering a wide range of products from lighting and lighting controls, wiring accessories, control, and hazardous products. You name it, they probably have it. Serving electrical contractors working in Alberta's oil and gas, commercial, residential, and OEM sectors. Check them out at bjelectric.ca. Zuby, what are the people saying?
I just have to say, every time we talk about what a good stream it is, what a strong stream, I keep thinking about another 10, 15 years of doing this pod. We'll all be bragging about what a good, strong stream we have for something else altogether. I don't know why that always pops in my head. Okay, let's get to the stuff here. Noel Rinsky says, Klingberg, more even strength time than Ekholm and Kulak. Thoughts on that? And that'll tie into the next question coming up here as well, and tie into Skinner. But what are you guys' thoughts on Klingberg tonight and that bit, Brownie?
Well, I think part of it is Ekholm has been sick. I mean, there is a flu that's been going through the team. Maybe that has something to do with it. I think they're also trying to find what they got with Klingberg. They know what they got with Ekholm. They know what they got with Kulak. They're putting Klingberg out there and seeing what they have. Do we need to make an improvement, or is this the guy that's going to be playing with Darnell in the playoffs? So I think come playoff time, and Ekholm is going to get the majority of the ice when it comes to 5-on-5. But there have been good signs from Klingberg Struds. I think there's something there. There's still some rust. There's still some mistakes. But his skating looks good, and his ability to make a play and keep plays alive is something that the Oilers have really needed in their second pairing.
Yeah, great, offense and deliver the puck to good players at the right time. Like I noticed that tonight. He was +3 tonight. Not that always says you have a good night, but it's always nice to be up at that level. I still don't think he has a point yet, which is kind of crazy for how many passes he makes. But I think he continues to slightly improve every game.
Yep. Yes.
Okay, sort of on the same topic. This is a really interesting point from Dawson Nielsen. He says, what's more important, Jeff Skinner being able to produce and have his all-around game, or John Klingberg playing in the top four? Because what he's basically getting at is does of those two players, which one play better? Adjust the Oilers' sights for what they might be looking for come the trade deadline. Is Klingberg playing better? Push them to thinking about a forward? Does Skinner playing better push them to thinking about a D? Could those two players be the key to what the Oilers end up looking for at the trade deadline, Struddy?
Yeah, I think the D is the biggest thing. There's less options for them right now. So let's say Klingberg doesn't work out. You're back to Stetcher, who I think is a 7 or 8 in the playoffs. So then you have to go and find somebody else. Whereas if Skinner doesn't work out up front, and up to this point he hasn't seized that spot, there are other people you can play in that. Although they're maybe not perfect, they can play some people in there. With Klingberg, you need to go out and get another player if Klingberg doesn't work, Brownie.
100%. If you want one, if someone said, okay, only one of these is going to work out for you, which one do you want? 100%, it's Klingberg. You want that. You want him to turn into the top 4 defenseman that you want. That's a much more important role for the Oilers going forward, because Leon, you can put anyone with Leon and there will be some success. Not having a top 4 defenseman will hurt you. And it's much easier in a trade to find someone that can score, that can play with Leon, as opposed to finding a top 4 defenseman. Top 4 defenseman would cost you a whole lot more in assets. So I do believe how both of them play will dictate what the Oilers do at the deadline. Klingberg, to me, is the more important of the two.
Okay, let's talk a little Four Nations. We got that coming up. Obelisk wants to know, if Sid is out for Four Nations, who is the replacement? Do they bring in Hyman to play with McDavid, or do you think they go with a center? And do you guys know anything? It's Sid's banged up, but do you think he's going to play? And if not, who's the replacement, Brownie?
I have no idea about his injury at all. If he is, and if there's any possibility he can play, he will play. If you're going to bring in a replacement, to me, it has to be Mark Scheifele. He's having an unbelievable season. He's a centerman. I think he's got 60 some points on the year. He's got 30. I think he's got the most goals of any Canadian player in the National Hockey League. If not, he's one off the lead. To me, I love Hyman. I do. But Scheifele should have been picked the first time they did this. Scheifele should be the guy that goes in. If a centerman is being taken out and Sidney Crosby can't play, Mark Scheifele should be the player going.
Yeah, and I agree with all that. I think with Sid, this isn't like they're going to win the Stanley Cup this year. So if
Yes.
they can patch him up and get him out there, they'll run him in. If it was a player from a team that has Stanley Cup aspirations, they're like, I'm sorry, Austin Matthews, you're not coming. You're not going. You're staying home.
Well, a great point by that, Struds, is Pietrangelo in Vegas. They got Stanley Cup aspirations. He's a little banged up. He's playing right now. But they're like, you know what? It's more important for me to stay home
Quinn
and rest up
Hughes.
for the playoff push.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
100%.
Okay, we've chatted about this lots, and I know, Struddy, you might have mentioned one time about someone, but let's see if we can get specific here. Brownie and Struds, what's your take on the dynamic that was in the Vancouver locker room? Have you experienced divides in the dressing room or a situation where someone didn't fit in, or a rift, like a rift between two guys that was prolonged? Struds, I think you talked a little bit about when you were with the Rangers and Sean Avery and guys kind of keeping him in line. But does something come to mind? And you don't have to name names if you're not comfortable doing that specifically, but what have you experienced, anything in that realm, Struddy?
I never experienced anything like that, and I've never heard of anything like that. So public and so out there, and no one really knows what the problem is. You know, it's like it was like the best, worst kept secret in the history of the NHL as far as the challenge. And now the challenge is for everyone to go their own way and figure this stuff out, because, you know, within the dressing room, there would have been sides. I'm Team Brown or he's Team Zuby. And then now we got, well, my Brownie just left. Now I got to be Team Zuby because this is the guy, the survivor that's left. So you have to figure that out. So yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's not over. Just because he's gone doesn't mean it's over.
Right.
Well, it certainly doesn't, because if Pettersson doesn't become the player that he was supposed to be, I mean, how much pressure is on him now? You got rid of a guy. I've watched a couple of the games. Miller's been fantastic in New York. I think he's got like 4 points since he's gone there. I've never seen anything like that. I've never been on a team like that. There's always guys that don't get along a bit, but nothing that's torn a team apart. So and this is a Vancouver team that was, you know, one goal away from moving on to the semifinals last year. And they did it without Besser, did it with Demko. This was a team on the rise. Now it's like, I don't even know if they're a playoff team this year. So I've never, and I've been around hockey now since playing junior 40 years, and I've never seen a team that has gone through what they did. And again, for it to be public, you want everything to be kept in-house. I mean, you had your president talking, your captain, your coach. Yeah, I feel for the Vancouver Canucks, because this is a team we should be talking about battling with Vegas and the Oilers. And now they're a team that's going to be battling with the Calgary Flames to try to make the playoffs.
You got a couple more Zoobs here?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Actually, I got one here because I think this could be an interesting discussion. Floating tea leaves, calling his or her shot, saying Lane Hudson is going to be the rookie of the year. Wondered if you guys wanted to chime in on that. We got Hudson. He's a D-man, leading rookie scorers with 40 points. He's played 10 more games than Celebrini, who has 39 points. You got Michkov there as well, 34 points. And then Dustin Wolf in Calgary. I think he's kind of an interesting name in the mix too, but it looked like this was something Celebrini was going to run away with after the first couple months of the season, but it's tight now. What do you think, Brownie? Who's your guy?
In all honesty, I can't give you a real educated guess because I haven't seen them play enough. The games that I have seen, both of them are really nice players, Celebrini or Hudson. I think it's between the two of them. I think Wolf is a nice story, and he will be in the mix as the third guy. I'm not sure about the kid in Philadelphia. I think he'll fall off a little bit just because Tortorella will force him to fall off by not playing him all the time. But both, I think Hudson is a fantastic player that's fun to watch, highly skilled, and Celebrini is too. I think they're two players that we're going to be watching for a long time in the National Hockey League. But who's better this year? In all honesty, I haven't seen either one enough to make that call.
Yeah, you know what? I agree with you what you're saying there. But I think with Dustin Wolf, without him, I wonder where the Flames would be. Whereas the other two, I mean, I guess the Sharks are who they are, and the Habs are putting up a fight. So I think, though, the goalie doesn't usually get a lot of love, and I think he should, much like I think Ryan Huska is not getting enough attention for what he's done with that team there.
Oh,
it doesn't have a ton of offensive skill. But every time I look at the Jack Adams potentials. He's not even on the board, like top 5 or
that's
6.
wrong.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what does a guy have to do around here? And I'm very biased, obviously, but there needs to be something there for both Dustin Wolf and Ryan Huska, for sure.
You know what,
That's
Pete?
it,
You know
Zoop.
what the naysayer? Yeah, we're done. The naysayers will say it'll flip the MVP conversation. Most valuable to his team, right? But they're going to say this isn't the most valuable rookie. It's the most outstanding rookie. Flip that conversation. But I agree. Dustin Wolf's awesome talent. I love how athletic he is. He reminds me of Jonathan Quick a little bit, sort of in his younger years. So flexible and athletic, and awesome goalie.
Great story.
So flexible, like the opposite of Ryan Rishaug then. So when you talk about flexibility.
Well, ironic you should bring his name up because he's involved in the play of the day, Brownie.
Oh,
Brought to you by
way.
Gallery Dental, offering a full range of services designed to keep your smile healthy. Their experienced team provides personalized care with the latest technology to ensure you get the best treatment possible. Contact gallerydentalYEG.com. So when you dominate at board games while you're in the beautiful mountains and you choose to not even go outside, not go for a walk, not even a sleigh ride, and you win 3 games in a row, Brownie and Zoobs, this, my friends, that's the very essence of the play of the day and being a winner. Our buddy Ryan Rishaug.
Yeah, we saw the trophy. He won a can of Pringles earlier today.
Pringles. Yeah. They brought those from Edmonton. They didn't go to a store to buy them, right? They got them in and they're not going outside.
And I feel like, weren't they just like red Pringles, like plain?
There he is.
Or are they
Doesn't that
ketchup?
look
It's
like a happy man. Look
Like,
at outside there. That's Banff. He hasn't seen it yet, but he has seen the
No.
inside of the hotel room.
They had to open up the drapes to get the picture, enough light in for the picture. Why is he flexing in that?
Look at the joy, though. That's really,
No.
it's a happy man.
And
I don't
actually,
know. Wow.
not everyone showed up. We thought there was 9 people at these World Championships. I've only seen pictures of 4.
Yeah.
So is it really a World Championship if you only have 4 people?
Well, the other 5 went for a hike. They went outside and enjoyed it, enjoyed the weather. All right, on that high note, let's wrap this bad boy up. Zuby, great job. Brownie, thank you. One more pod before the Oilers take a break here, and then we'll have a ton of pods over the 4 Nations covering that. Friday night, Oilers, Avs. I won't be there. I'm actually going to go join them in Banff for I'm just going to go there and watch movies in my room for 4 days straight. So you guys are in charge, but thanks, Brownie. Thanks, Zoobs. Everyone, thank you for joining us. If you like what you see, give us a thumbs up on there. Tell a friend. We love that you support us, and we love sharing our ideas with you. Have yourselves a great night, and we'll check in with you Friday night after the Avs Oilers game. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night, fellas.